think this is our week 4 prediction show, kind of going over the games of the week. Um, Sorry I missed all last week. One day I had to take my child to the hospital, and then I was in Oxford, heartbroken, and could not get my internet to work there. But we're back this week. We're not traveling. We're back in the great state of Arkansas. Thank God. I could not imagine living in Mississippi, worst place maybe in the entire world. Um, let's kind of just get straight into it. There's not really a whole lot of news that doesn't relate to games. Starting off, I mean, right off the bat, as much as everyone might hate it, but this is, one of the biggest games in the Big 12, one of the biggest games
Yeah.
of the day. It's going to be on Fox. Texas Tech goes to Utah and plays the Utes. Right now, that line is sitting at 3.5 Utah. That's going to be a hornet's nest for Texas Tech to walk into. Texas Tech should, in theory, kind of be the more talented team based on what they spent. But I think the better coached team is probably going to win this game, and I think that's going to be Utah. What do you kind of think?
Yeah, man. I feel like this is one of those games where it's like it really shows you what modern day football has become because Utah is a team that the reason they are so good is for one, their coach Kirk Ferentz has been there forever,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they keep their team. You'll have guys there that are there for 3, 4, 5 years. Um, and then they're playing a Texas Tech team that's all transfer portal guys, it seems like. Now, obviously, they have some guys that they've kept. I'm not saying their whole team is transfer, but Texas Tech spent the most amount of money on transfers. They brought in a bunch of talent. They're very talented. They've been wiping teams out, but they also haven't really played anybody, so it's hard to tell what a team actually is. But I feel like this is kind of one of those games to where it's like you get the modern day what football is versus like, just your traditional Utah, which usually goes 10-2. I think Utah has a lot to prove because last year they were very lackluster in what kind of their fans expected them to be. But the 3.5 favor in Utah, I think I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover and win the game, probably, just because I think the talent is too much, and I think Texas Tech is playing at a point to where like they're going to be very hard to stop unless you're almost as talented as they are, and you're also better coached than they are, if that makes sense. And I don't
See,
feel like Utah is like as talented as Texas Tech. I feel like they're better coached, but there's just going to be kind of like if people watch like 2 or 3 weeks ago when South Carolina played Virginia Tech, whereas like South Carolina played okay, but like their athletes made that game kind of stretch out farther than what it should have been. I feel like that's going to be kind of the same way. I'm not saying Texas Tech's going to stretch it, but I could see them winning by like anywhere from 3 to 5 points.
right. See, and I was kind of leaning Utah spread just because Kyle Whittingham does have a winning program there in Utah. Going into the Big 12 last year, I thought that they would, contend for the conference. Obviously, they didn't. They had a lot of injuries, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's kind of a gut feeling. It's kind of a trust in Kyle Whittingham, but it's also I just don't know much about Texas Tech. Like, this is still a pretty new regime,
Yeah.
and it's kind of an experiment to an extent of bringing all this talent to a Big 12 team. So I'm interested to see the game. I think it'd be a good
Yeah.
one either
And
way, and I think Utah's home field advantage will play a part in this one, even though it is at 11.
Mason, I don't know if this is just me or I said when I was talking about Utah, how their coach has been there forever. I said Kirk Ferentz. Well, that's the
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's head coach. Do you get them mixed up sometimes? Just because they're kind of the same guy, just in different schools and different formats. I mean, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, very similar. I think he's been there about half the time Kirk Ferentz has, though. Isn't that
Yeah,
crazy?
probably. I don't know. Is he the one that took over for Urban when Urban left the first time?
Probably. So
So
that'd be
it's like,
like
yeah, he's been there like 16.
2007,
Yeah, been there
2006,
like
2007.
16, 17 years. I don't know, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I just thought about it because I was like, I did say Kirk Ferentz, so I got those mixed up.
Yeah, and I'm kind of leaning that way. And then the next Well, we got a couple of good games at 11.
So I'm saying, man, a lot of people are sleeping on these early week games, and like as you go through them, it's like that could be a good game. That has the potential to be a good game. I mean, all the 11 slot games look good to me. I mean, you
I'll
got
definitely
that
be flipping
one.
through. I
Yeah,
probably won't be flipping through as much because my Hogs go on the road to Memphis playing the
yeah,
Liberty Bowl,
yeah.
where I don't know. I mean, obviously we haven't played Memphis, but we haven't lost a game in the Liberty Bowl in a long time. The way I kind of feel about this game is if our defense plays like it did last week, we do have every opportunity to lose.
Yep.
But to give Ole Miss some grace on that, I do think Ole Miss is a talented team. Obviously, Lane Kiffin's a good offensive-minded head coach. We're obviously not going to play the same caliber of athlete as we did last week. But again, our defense was a problem last week. On the flip side, I don't think there's a way Memphis can stop Arkansas. I think if you do see a disappointing offense from Arkansas, it's because Arkansas stopped Arkansas. The spread on this game right now, 7.5 Arkansas's way. I kind of lean to take Arkansas in the points on this, not by much. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout. I think if the stretchiest I could see this game getting as far as like being a blowout is Arkansas 20. I mean, and that's a score late. I don't see this game getting out of hand just because I don't think Arkansas's defense is good enough to put a team away. What are you kind of thinking about that game?
So at the beginning of the season, I'm a big person that says I was going to die on hills. I mean, I'm going to stick with what I said. Me and Mason kind of gave ourselves the opportunity at the beginning of the season to fall back on some stuff that we said. I took the opportunity to fall back on Auburn. I didn't fall back on the Hogs. I think Arkansas is probably going to lose this game. The only reason sorry, Mason. The only reason I say that now, I will stand up and say too, I was wrong about the Arkansas State game. I thought it was going to be a closer game than what it was. The only reason I say that is because Memphis is a good team. Memphis isn't just your typical lower level team that's just like in the American Conference like a UAB. They're a very good team. They're a lot like USF this year. They have talent. They're a team that benefits from the transfer portal in those smaller conferences, unlike a lot of schools where your players get good and they leave. This is a school where if a kid doesn't work out at Alabama, he'll go here, if that makes sense. And I feel like for Arkansas, this game is in between two massive games for them because it's in between Ole Miss and Notre Dame. And I feel like this could be just one of those teams where they're looking ahead to Notre Dame, but Memphis is good enough to make you slip up. I mean, this Memphis team, now, don't get me wrong, because I don't like doing these comparisons. I'm just trying to give the people some kind of – this Clemson or this Memphis team beat Troy last week 28-7. And that's the same Troy team that gave Clemson problems the week before that. So what I'm getting at is I'm not coming out and saying that, like, oh, Memphis would beat Clemson. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is this team is good enough to where Arkansas could slip up against them because it's kind of like, oh, they're just a little school. We're not going to have to play them that hard. And they're coming off of a heartbreaking loss, massive loss to Ole Miss. And they're looking forward to a game like Notre Dame. That's why I kind of feel like now if Arkansas loses, it's going to be off of an upset type loss. It's going to be off of like Memphis might win by like 3 points. It's not like Memphis is going to win by 10 or 15 points. I could just see Arkansas slipping this game up.
And my only, obviously, as objective as I can be, is I think Taylon Green so far in this season. Obviously, he hasn't played in an elite defense, but he showed a lot more poise and a lot more confidence, and he's made all the plays that you would want your quarterback to make. And I just don't see a way, and it's not just Memphis. I don't see a way a lot of teams can stop him just because of his element of how athletic he is, and he's made a lot of good throws. And I like our receiving core. But let's move on to the next one. We can quickly go over this one. This is an 11 o'clock game. It's going to be on NBC. Maryland goes to Wisconsin minus 9.5. Now, I would have told you early in the year that I think Wisconsin blows the doors off Maryland just because I thought Wisconsin was a good team that just, wasn't quite there. But I didn't really see a lot last week that gave me a lot of hope. So it's not that I do think Wisconsin's still the more talented team, probably the better coach team, but they're coming off a loss where they did not look good at all. I mean, Alabama thoroughly controlled that game. I don't see a world where Maryland really does anything, but this is one of those weird games where two bad teams, someone's got to win. I don't like Wisconsin 9.5. I'm not going to bet that game at all because you don't really know enough, but I just feel like it's going to be closer than that, and I could even see Wisconsin kind of imploding and losing this game, especially if things go bad early.
Yeah, see, I really like Maryland in this game. I feel like they have a quarterback in Malik Washington. He's a freshman. He's already thrown for almost 800 yards, 7 yards per attempt. So he's kind of, I wouldn't say he's pushing the ball down the field, but it's not like he's just throwing screen passes. And he has a 62% completion rate. So it's like he's not awful. He has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. Now, obviously, they haven't played anybody. It's just I don't like I'm kind of with you, Mason. I don't like Wisconsin as much as I thought I did coming into the season. Maryland just seems like a more complete team. I would say like their defense isn't like some crazy defense, but I do feel like they're good enough to like kind of keep a stronghold on Washington. So that would be my pick on that game. I don't know. What did you say the spread was? The spread
Wisconsin,
is
9.5.
Yeah, see, it's at Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is a hard place to play, but I would take Maryland with the points. I mean, maybe you don't want to bet on it, but like if you take Maryland with the points, if Wisconsin does win the game, I don't see them winning the game any more than like 7. Personally.
Right. And what's crazy about this game is the over/under is set at 44.5. Like, that's the lowest I've seen in a game all year. That's crazy.
You know what? For sure this year. Last year I seen who was it? I think it was an Iowa Michigan game, and it was like 30.5 or 32 or something crazy.
Real quickly, we can kind of talk about Syracuse, Clemson.
Take Syracuse points.
Yeah. The spread is huge on this one. It's Clemson 16.5. What has Clemson done to deserve?
I don't know.
I was the biggest Clemson hoorah coming into the season, and I'm telling you, Clemson hasn't done anything to prove to me that they can beat anyone by 17 points. No, I don't think they could beat Conway High School by 17 points. It would genuinely surprise me if they did. I don't know who's going to win that game. In theory, everything's telling me Clemson wins that game. I don't feel great about that, and I definitely don't feel good about 16.5. I would take the Syracuse points on that one. And watch me say that, and watch Clemson beat them by 50. Watch it happen. That's what I'm going to say. I'm gonna put it in my parlay just so it'll lose.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way, Mason. I do not like Clemson. I feel like Dabo is he's just. I heard like 2 weeks ago, and I meant to bring it up on the show. He called out Cade Klubnik on national TV on the radio, pretty much talking about how he's not that good. It's pretty much the synopsis of what he was saying, for one, and then for two, he freaked out on a reporter about Brian Kelly did about how what they're doing is good enough. They don't have to be any more than the last 2 or 3 years. They've been to the playoffs and they've won the conference 8 out of the last 10 years, and they're fine because they're doing better than 80% of other programs. I just feel like the season's washed for them, honestly. I know they're going to win some games. I'm not saying that they're going to lose the rest of their games. They're definitely going to win some, but like I don't see them making it to the playoffs again this year, honestly, because just the mentality of the team is not there. And I feel like this is a game that Syracuse could come out and win. Now, Fran Brown has been having issues too with his program, but not as much. And I mean, this Syracuse team played very well against Tennessee week one. Now, like I said, I don't like doing they played this team, and if you put them together, you'll find out. But you ever seen those people that like do that at the end of the season, Mason, where like Foreman or whoever will like upset a team, and then it goes down the line, and like some team beat Alabama, and it's like, well, this team would have beat Alabama. Anyways, what I'm getting at is like, I feel like this could be a game to where like Clemson might slip up and lose this, and you better watch out because I would definitely tune in to local radio stations that cover Clemson because Dabo Sweeney is going to have some freak out moments if they lose this game. I'm with you, Mason. Even if I'm not going to bet on Syracuse to win, I would definitely put my whole house payment on Syracuse to cover the spread at least.
See, I don't even feel comfortable doing that. I would do that, and then Clemson would beat them by 50. You just never know.
I mean, you're right. I would, yeah. I mean,
let's kind of talk about. I think this is the last good morning slate game that I'm seeing here. SMU goes to Fort Worth and they play the TCU Horned Frogs. This is a game where if you would have asked me at the beginning of the year, I would have told you that it would have been close, but I would have leaned SMU. Just because SMU kind of looked like the better team coming into the year. But based on what I've seen from both teams, I think TCU is the better football team. I think SMU is taking a step back. I don't think Kevin Jennings is a bad quarterback. I don't think Sonny Dykes is a bad coach. But I just think TCU is a better football team. And I think going on the road, this is a rivalry. I think TCU will beat them, and I think TCU has a lot to prove in this game because last year SMU kind of beat them handedly and talked a lot of crap. And I think this is a very emotional type of game, and I think TCU controls them. I think TCU wins in a shootout, but I think TCU kind of wins by 10 or so, if I had to guess. The spread on it right now is 6.5. So, and the over under 63. So if you're flipping through games and you want to watch high scoring one, I would say this is another one. I was right about the Baylor SMU game, and I feel like I'm going to be really right about this one too. No defense at all.
Yeah, I would take the over on that game, honestly. I'm kind of with you. I mean, I feel like SMU really relies on Jennings a lot. Or yeah, what is that his name? Jenkins?
Yeah, Kevin Jennings.
Yeah, Kevin Jennings. Yeah, I feel like they rely on him a lot. So like, if he's not having a good game, SMU's not winning. If that makes sense. And like, I feel like TCU is going to give him so many problems defensively. And TCU's quarterback is, I mean, he's almost as real a deal as it gets. I mean, the dude's a freak show. What's his name? All these quarterbacks in the Big 12 all have like, they're all good. And anyways, but what I'm getting at is like, he is very Josh Hoover. His completion rate is a 76% completion rate. So like, he completes the ball, he moves the ball down the field. His average depth of target is like 10 yards target. So like, he's pushing the ball down the field. And I feel like it's just going to be too much for SMU to deal with. And I just don't feel like Jennings is going to bring them to the point to where like I don't feel like he can put the team on his back like he needs to win this game. I feel like TCU's defense is just too good for that.
Yeah, and the main thing with Josh Hoover is, yes, his completion percentage is really high. Yes, he has a great quarterback rating. He moves the ball down the field, but he doesn't turn the ball over. He only has one pick, and they're a passing offense. And I don't see SMU's defense being able to force turnovers in this game, and so I really don't give SMU much of a shot in this one. I think TCU wins it. Let me get back to this thing here. Okay, and then we got at 2:30. This was where like some meaningful games, at least in the SEC and the Big Ten, kind of start. Uh, 2:30 ABC in Norman, Oklahoma. The Auburn Tigers go on the road and to play the Sooners. Right now, the spread set at 7.5, Oklahoma's way. I don't necessarily like the spread in that. I feel like Oklahoma's defense looks good, but Oklahoma's offense, even in that Michigan game where like they made big plays, they didn't really just look electric to me. So far, Jackson Arnold has done enough to keep drives alive, keep games going. I do see this being a tighter game, but I do have Oklahoma winning. I think John Mateer will do just enough, again, just like he did against Michigan, make just enough plays. He has just enough pieces around him to win this game. And I can't say the same thing for Auburn. They, outside of that Baylor game, like they haven't played anyone really. So it's hard for me to put a lot of stock into a team that Baylor didn't have a great defense. Obviously, you saw that in the SMU game. So it's hard for me to say that that Auburn's offense is good enough to put up a lot of points. And I don't think Oklahoma's offense is necessarily good enough to put up a lot of points either. Two decent defenses, or Auburn has a decent defense. Oklahoma has a good defense. So I think it's kind of a low-scoring game. But I am picking the Sooners in that one, I believe.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I got the Sooners, but I'm kind of on the other side. I think I could see Oklahoma winning this game by like 14 because I do like Auburn, but the way Brent Venables sets up his defense, like for one, and for two, Jackson Arnold, Brent Venables knows everything about him, right? Is that Jackson Arnold? Yeah, he came from Oklahoma, transferred to Auburn. Yeah, he knows everything about this kid. What puts him into pressure? What causes him to throw interceptions? What causes him to like freak out? And I feel like Brent Venables is going to just really exacerbate those things and like use them against him. Because everybody knows that's what Brent Venables' defense is based off of, like very much moving around, making it hard on first-time starting quarterbacks. Even though this isn't Jackson Arnold's first time, Brent Venables is going to know what kind of sets him into that panic mode, for one. And I feel like this could be a game for John Mateer that, like, another one of those where he throws for 250 yards and rushes for 100 type season. But I could also see a world where Jackson Arnold has prevailed out of those things that Brent Venables thinks is going to put him into conflict. And, he rushes the ball really well. I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I could see it being like 28-14 Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I will say this one thing about Jackson Arnold. I don't know if Brent Venables actually knows what Jackson Arnold is good at based on how Oklahoma played last year. They probably only know what he's bad at. So maybe that plays into Auburn's favor a little bit.
Yeah, you're very right.
Let's get on to the next one here. Tulane goes on the road to Oxford, Mississippi. 2:30 game. They play the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss coming off a win, obviously, at home against Arkansas. Ole Miss in this game is favored by 13.5 points. I think Tulane might be the best team they've played so far. Tulane has done nothing to disappoint me so far this year. I'm not taking Tulane to win the game, but I do think Tulane gives themselves a chance to win it. I'm still taking Ole Miss. I don't even care who they start at quarterback. I saw that guy live in person carve up, my defense for 4 quarters. He's very talented. And so Austin Simmons, I don't know. We don't know yet on Austin Simmons. The jury's still out, but there's still a lot to be determined. So whoever they start at quarterback, Ole Miss is going to score points. Typical Lane Kiffin offense. It's just about, can they stop Tulane in a sense? And I think that they can. I just don't think they will. I think Tulane keeps it close, but I think Ole Miss does prevail. I would not take the Ole Miss points on that. What do you kind of think?
Yeah, I think I think Ole Miss is going to win. I just feel like they're way more talented than Tulane. But I compare Tulane to Memphis in a way. Like, I feel like they're on the same category of team, and this is a very slip-up spot for Ole Miss. So I don't think Ole Miss is going to cover. And you know what, Mason? Yeah, I'm going to do it because Lane Kiffin does one every year. I actually think Ole Miss loses this game. If you want me to be 1,000% honest. And the reason is because how many times have we seen a quarterback come in, seen it multiple times, how many times have we seen a quarterback come in and they do great? And then when they have to prepare the next week for a team, they don't look so great. It happened last year with Arch Manning. Now, I know everybody's different, but what I'm getting at is that kid that came in and played against Arkansas, he played great. I mean, he carved up Arkansas's defense. But when he has to actually prepare for a team and teams know what he is he going to struggle? We don't know that. I feel like Tulane is good enough to cause Oklahoma problems, kind of like the Arkansas-Memphis game. And this is a game that is going to cause – it's in that slip-up spot, but Tulane is talented enough to give Ole Miss problems. I feel like Tulane covers, and I feel like it's going to be a lot like the Arkansas-Memphis game. I'm calling upsets in those games. I might parlay them just because I feel like people don't understand these slip-up games to where they're wedged in between like an Arkansas and a LSU or wedged in between an Ole Miss and a Notre Dame. A lot of teams look past these teams. And that causes problems because now in the transfer portal, these teams are more talented than what they used to be. You can't come in cruise moding a Memphis and a Tulane. And I've seen Lane Kiffin multiple times slip up in games like this and lose to a Kentucky and lose to a team that he's not supposed to.
Well, and I don't think you're completely off base with that. Ole Miss definitely has – I've seen a better Ole Miss team almost lose to a similar Tulane team.
Yes.
Granted, that game was in New Orleans. But as far as the quarterback goes, I will say this. I think Lane Kiffin is a world's better play caller and world's better offensive coach than Steve Sarkisian. I think Arch Manning would look better at Ole Miss than he does at Texas.
1,000%.
But I am going to roll with the Rebels. I do think that they're a motivated squad. Going forward, beyond this game, I don't see how Ole Miss wins a lot more games in a similar shootout fashion. They're going to have to be able to stop someone. And I'm going to say the same thing with Arkansas. Like, Arkansas's got to find a way to stop someone. Like, even if it's just 3 stops, and you capitalize and you score off of those stops, you got to find a way to stop someone. And you can't miss field goals. You can't fumble the ball. That's what beat Arkansas. It wasn't that Ole Miss's defense got in our way at any point. It was that we shot ourselves in the foot. Ole Miss is going to have the same opportunity to lose in the exact same way. One slip up in a shootout game where your defense can't stop anyone, and you're going to lose a heartbreaker. That's just what's going to happen. So it will be interesting to see with the Ole Miss defense that's going to be more talented. They're going to face a less talented team than they faced last week on the other side of the ball. But it's going to be a team that is probably better coached, maybe not from the coordinator, but from the head coach. And it's going to be a team that knows how to attack a defense, similar to what they faced last week. So I'm just more interested to see if Ole Miss's defense shows up, in a sense. I do think Ole Miss wins the game. I don't like Ole Miss 13.5. I like, if it was Ole Miss 9.5, I would maybe take that, but 13.5 is a stretch for me. But let's kind of get into the next one. This is the biggest game in the Big Ten, probably, that on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Well, it's one of. There's 2 really big games in the Big Ten.
Oh, yeah, there's a night game. Yeah. Illinois versus Indiana.
Michigan, without their head coach, travels to Lincoln, Nebraska to play the Cornhuskers. I'll let you kind of take the lead on this one, but Michigan is favored by 1.5. What do you kind of think going into this one?
I think it's kind of Nebraska's come out game. I don't feel like that they're really gonna just mollywop Michigan, but Nebraska's tough to play at, and Michigan has really made theirself, I don't want to say one dimensional, but coming off the heels of that Oklahoma game, like if you're a defensive coordinator, your eyes kind of opened up to what you have to do to be able to stop Bryce Underwood. Now, is Nebraska's defense talented enough to do that? I don't know. The only real team that they've played was week 1 versus Cincinnati. They only won by 3 points. And Dylan Raiola, I wouldn't say that he looks bad, but he doesn't look he does I wouldn't say that he doesn't look great. It's just if you watch him, it just seems off. But I will say this, he has almost 850 yards with a 76% completion rate, 8 touchdowns and zero interceptions. So he doesn't throw picks. And I feel like Michigan is a type of team to where, kind of like what you said, they have to be able to get stops, but they have to almost induce more offense for their team, because I don't feel like their offense is just like a move it up and down type offense, if that makes sense. I would take Nebraska, and I would take Nebraska to cover the points too.
The way I kind of feel about this one going into it is it's Nebraska's game to lose. Nebraska should win this one, in my opinion. Michigan might be favored by Vegas, but if you really just take the name off of Michigan, take the name off Nebraska, you got a team. You got 2 young teams with young quarterbacks that are improving every week. Okay, but one quarterback doesn't have his head coach, and you're coming off you already lost a game. You got to go into this hostile environment at a prime slot at 2:30. Like, this is the biggest game that Nebraska's had at home that they actually have a chance to win in a long time, in my opinion. And this is your game to lose. It's also you should win this game. But is this same old typical Nebraska where they're going to get this prime time chance to beat Michigan and kind of anoint themselves, maybe not to the top of the conference, but above what they finished last year, 8th, something like that. In that range. You have a chance to leapfrog into, maybe you're a contender for the playoff. On the flip side, if you lose this game, you're just another little buddy. That's basically what this is saying to me. This is your opportunity to win a game. I'm taking Nebraska, but I'm going to be watching very closely, very, very closely on how they perform in this one.
I agree. As
far as Michigan, I could see Michigan completely killing Nebraska's game plan, completely slowing this game down, forcing Raiola to make a dumb turnover, and winning this game 17-7. I could see that happening too, though.
Yeah, I could see it happening. I just think it's like, I don't want to say it's their year, like they're going to win the national championship. I just mean it's like, I think it's their year to show people like, hey, we're supposed to be here. We're not a little brother anymore. We recruit at a different level than what we used to. And like, this is our year in the conference, if that makes sense. Like, because for the longest time, it was Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and then we added Oregon, and they automatically went up there. And Nebraska used to be, like, back in Nebraska's heyday, like in the 80s and 90s, and even before that, they were the top team, in their conferences that they were in, the Big East, and like all the conferences that got switched up. And then they came to the Big Ten, and they kind of, dwindled. I feel like this is kind of the year where Nebraska gets to take some of that respect back from not just the Big Ten, but the country.
I'm really excited to see it. It's the Bussin' Bowl, if y'all keep up with those goobers at all. And that's
it is
for that midday slot.
Hey, I do want to say this too, and that's what I was going to say. I don't really want to talk about it, but I was looking at the lines. I don't think Notre Dame's going to cover that 25.5.
Yeah, Purdue did a lot last week that showed me that they can move the ball.
I think USC's way better than Notre Dame, and they didn't. I don't feel like Notre Dame's going to beat them by 25.5. Personally, I would put that in a bet.
All right, let's kind of get into. This is another big game in the Big 12. I kind of don't know where they're getting this line from. West Virginia coming off that win against Pitt, going on the road to Lawrence, Kansas. Kansas is favored by 12.5. Um, Kansas has not showed me they can stop anyone this year outside of Fresno. Missouri physically ran the ball all over them. Rich Rod's a good coach on the offensive side of the ball. I don't think West Virginia wins this game. I don't think they're quite there yet. Um, but I don't like Kansas in the spread. I like West Virginia kind of covering that spread. But we'll just quickly go over that one if you want to, real quick.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you said is kind of how I feel. We're both high on Rich Rod. Obviously, if you know just college football in general, you know who Rich Rod is. I like him. I just don't feel like I don't know. I like Kansas more. Now, do I trust their defense? No, but how good does their defense really have to be against West Virginia? I feel like they're going to be able to move the ball when they want to. I feel like they're going to be able to score when they want to. I really like their quarterback, Jalen Daniels. I mean, he's a good quarterback. I would say he doesn't have a turnover problem. He has thrown 2 interceptions, but like I just feel like Kansas is more talented, and they have a team that's been around longer. When Rich Rod came in, he kind of, I don't want to say got rid of a lot of people, but he kind of went the Deion Sanders method. He kept some people, but a lot of people ended up leaving, and brought a lot of people into the portal. And I just feel like Kansas is more of a, I don't want to say senior laden, but like they have more of a culture there than what West Virginia does at this point in time.
Yeah, I think Rich Rod said in the offseason that they have 60 new players
Yeah.
or something like that. So, yeah.
And it's
Let's
at
kind
night, and Kansas gets rocking at night. I would almost take Kansas with the spread.
let's kind of get into this one real quick, too. South Carolina goes on the road to Columbia, plays Missouri. Missouri's favored 9.5 points. To me, this game depends on one thing. And I saw a report about it right before we got on this. How healthy is Lenore Sellers?
Yep.
Obviously, last week, Lenore Sellers goes down. They got beat like a drum by Vanderbilt. What kind of situation is South Carolina in if they don't have Lenore Sellers? They're going to get beat. I mean,
Yeah.
just straight up, they're going to get beat. If they do have Lenore Sellers, they might still get beat. But he is kind of that wild card factor if he can take a game over on the offensive side of the ball. I would just keep an eye on what they said. Right now, he's listed as probable. So he probably will play, if I had to guess. At what capacity, though?
Yeah. I think, yeah, I'm kind of with you. But, I mean, even if he's coming off of an injury, I still think, even if he plays, I think Missouri wins this game. South Carolina is not good. They are not what we expected them to be. And I said that last episode I did on the reaction show. And I feel like Missouri is way better than what we expected them to be. I mean, honestly, me and you both expected them to not be good, Mason. And I'm sorry, but Bo Prabula looks like he's the truth. I mean, really, like if you take his jersey off of him and you put him in a Hogs jersey or any jersey, Mason, you would absolutely love Bo Prabula.
You know
And
what? If we played Missouri's schedule, we could roll out anyone and we'd be fine, I think.
You think so? You may go through their schedule towards the end of the season?
Yeah, it's awful. Their schedule's terrible.
They play Alabama, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and then they have a dog water team, and then they play Oklahoma, and then they have a dog water team to end the end of the season.
Okay. we got Ole Miss week 3. While they're playing Kansas, we get to play Ole Miss.
Yeah.
We play Memphis, a good G5 school. We play Notre Dame. We play A&M. We play LSU. We play we play Texas. We play an improved Auburn team, an improved Mississippi State team. I mean,
they play both of them.
Not a comparison. Our schedule is way worse, is what I'm saying. But regardless, I do think Missouri's fraudulent. I do think that they played nobody. They played a team that can't stop anything, and then they luckily made. The only reason why Kansas was ever winning that game was because Missouri shot Missouri in the foot. Missouri's not a good football team. They're okay. They got a good schedule. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. Not this game, but they're going to lose moving forward. But yeah, on the South Carolina thing, this was my fear with South Carolina was maybe that's all they had was Lenora Sellers and Dylan Stewart. And unfortunately, biggest fears were correct.
It's kind of like the fear. Awful. Yeah, and it's kind of like the fears we have about probably the next team we're going to talk about and the games that we're going to talk about, which, I mean, there's really only two more, but the next biggest one, and it had the potential to be so big, but it's not as big as what it used to be because of the same thing that South Carolina is dealing with Florida and Miami. Florida is so reliant on DJ Lagway that, like, if he's not playing good, they're not going to win. And it's like he threw 5 interceptions last week, Mason. 5. Mm-hmm. And this was the kid that me and you both proclaimed to arguably be the best in the SEC. I mean, I did. You were more on Lenora Sellers, and but those are two quarterbacks that they haven't looked so hot at the beginning. You think about it. All the stuff that we heard going into this season. Who was the SEC? Maybe not even the SEC. Who was the country's top 5 quarterbacks? Lenora, and these aren't in order. Lenora Sellers, Garrett Nussmeier, Cade Klubnik, DJ Lagway, and who? Maybe Drew Waller. Guess what? None of them look that good.
Yeah, Taylor Green looks better than all of them.
Taylor Green is probably the best quarterback in the SEC. Really. I mean, I know you
watch it every week.
Yeah, he's crazy, but it's just crazy because I point that out to tell people if we're not the only ones that were wrong about what we were wrong about. Like you have your college football moguls, Joel Klatt and Josh Pate and Minister Sports and all these people that are very big and have a big cult following. They were all wrong too about the same stuff we're talking about. Because you just kind of think, oh, well, they're going to make that progressive step. But it looks like a lot of them are regressing. But back to the game. So
Wait, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what else we were wrong about?
What?
Diego Pavia is Superman. He is Batman.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah, we were, bro. How is he that good? The same thing with the kid from we kind of both liked that kid from Florida State. We weren't Diego Pavia, but you're right. Yeah.
He is
we were. Yeah. I mean, how do you do that? But anyways, like about the Florida Miami game, Miami is favored by 9.5. I wouldn't put it in a parlay, but I would put like whatever like the payout is, like put like $5 on it because Florida, the chances of DJ Lagway throwing 5 interceptions again are very low for one. For two, yeah, I mean I hope. But for two, the number 3 team in the country only beat Florida by what was it, 6 points, and he threw 5 interceptions.
I think it was 10, but regardless.
Oh, I thought it was 13 to 20. That's my fault.
Either way,
yeah,
5 picks.
Yeah, 5 picks. Odds are he's not going to do that again. So it's like, I mean, 9.5 points. That's steep. I know it's a night game at Miami, but it ain't like Florida's got to travel all the way across the Pacific Ocean to play them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I think Miami wins the game. I don't think they cover.
As a fan, I hope Florida whoops them. I hate Miami.
Yeah.
But
especially if we go back on our takes that we had at the beginning of the season.
As an objective onlooker, a fan of college football, someone that has to put their opinion out there every week, I'm not going to ride with Billy Napier on this one. I think Miami's going to win the game. I hate to say that, but
yeah,
I think Miami's going to win the game. Let's move on to another big game. Illinois travels on the road to Indiana. Has Indiana played anyone yet? I mean, I haven't seen Indiana for a singular second.
No, but they're kind of like all the teams that haven't played anybody. They did what they're supposed to. They beat
Right.
some no-name Indiana school 73-0, Kent State 56-9. I mean, week one they struggled against Old Dominion, but I don't think Old
Old Dominion just
Dominion.
beat Virginia Tech.
Yeah, so like I don't think Old Dominion is just horrible. I I think this is going to be a good game, Mason. I really like Illinois, but I also like I mean, this could be as much as you SEC homers don't want to admit it. This could be a game that has immediate playoff implications. These are two playoff teams. They are. I hate to tell you they are. They're two playoff
If
teams.
Indiana loses this game, Indiana is not a playoff team.
No, but it's the same
That's what I'm
thing.
saying.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like
So it's
whatever.
not two playoff teams if Indiana loses. And if Illinois loses, Illinois plays a tough schedule. Illinois probably ain't one either.
I think both of them could still get if Indiana loses this game or if Iowa if so many I schools if Indiana loses this game they could definitely still make it in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, because they don't play anyone.
They play Oregon and Penn State.
Yeah, they're losing both of those games.
I mean, theoretically, yeah, but they had one loss. If they win, even if they win one out of the three, they're still making it to the playoffs. They should.
No.
Yes.
No.
Oh
No.
God, I can't wait for playoff season with you.
No.
Because, but
Look. If Indiana loses, if they beat Penn State, maybe it just kind of depends on the situation. If it's a situation like last year where they're like a 11 seed and they lose all those games, there's no way. No. Last year, their biggest win was Michigan, who went 7-5. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah,
I don't think the loser of this game has a shot at the playoff. I don't.
I think both of them do, but this isn't going to help them because they would have to beat teams that they're probably not going to beat. I see what you're saying.
Like projecting the season, I don't see Indiana losing this game and going forward and beating any of those other schools. I just don't see that happening.
I see what you're saying. I guess Illinois could lose this game. Well, no, because they would play Ohio State. But I don't mean both being playoff teams. What I mean by that is if whoever wins this game, like whoever loses this game, almost knocks themselves out of the playoff race.
Yeah.
Is what I was getting at.
Yeah, no, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah. I feel like this has a potential, because both of them play teams later on in the season that they're not supposed to beat. Illinois plays USC, which they could win, but they play Ohio State. Indiana plays Penn State and Oregon, which if they're going to beat a team, it's got to be Illinois because they're probably not going to beat Oregon, which that's another team we were wrong on because Oregon looks like they're the Death Star coming through the Big Ten. But no, we're saying the same thing. I just think we misunderstood each other. This game is going to be big in the Big Ten landscape. Personally, I think so. And it's going to be
it is.
This is going to be one of these teams are going to be the last one in for the Big Ten playoff-wise.
Well, and just to put it frankly, I don't think if you're not good enough to beat Indiana or if you're not good enough to beat Illinois, you're not good enough to beat Penn State. You're not good enough to beat Oregon. You're not good enough to beat Ohio State. Not to say that it can't happen, but
it's less likely.
The way I kind of look at it is the Big Ten's not as much of a bloodbath in a sense of Ohio State doesn't lose to Northwestern. Alabama loses to LSU. Alabama loses to Texas A&M. That kind of.
Now you're taking our worst team,
but I'm saying Alabama doesn't lose to Illinois.
Yeah.
Or Ohio State doesn't lose to Illinois. Ohio State doesn't generally lose to Penn State. There's less surprises in that conference from the top.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So whenever you have to play those top teams, if you can't beat, kind of like Nebraska, Michigan, if Nebraska can't beat Michigan, Nebraska can't beat Penn State. Kind of what I'm saying. As far as how I see this game going, I think Illinois wins it.
And it's wild because
I don't like Indiana.
No, because I'm kind of the same way with you. what I don't understand is Indiana is favored by 6.5. Am I saying that right? It says IU. How?
Yeah, yeah, that's Indiana University. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because well, is it Illinois University? Like, how do you determine what the?
Um,
That's what I'm
Illinois
thinking.
is like ILL, aren't they normally in abbreviations?
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know. Just confused. If Indiana is favored, I would take. I would take the point. Like I think Illinois is winning this game. And even if you don't 1000% believe it, because it is a night game in Indiana, like I would just take Illinois to cover the spread.
Night game in Indiana.
Oh
Oh,
my God, here we go.
Illinois is gonna kill him. Illinois is not gonna kill him. Illinois is gonna win the game though. I'm just saying,
That's what I think.
like no one's ever been like, oh, we got to go to Bloomington. Ugh. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
but I think it's because it's for so long Indiana was bad, so like now they have a reason to go. The place is gonna be rocking. I'm telling you, watch.
It probably would be
Watch.
loud, but I'm just saying, like, it was just funny that you said like night game in Indiana. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. Like no, it's not like an
that's just
LSU.
funny to me.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, no, it's not like an LSU night game or like anything like that. I just mean like I think
It's
it's good.
not. It's literally not anywhere. Like, you can name anyone,
It's
and I'd be like, probably better in Indiana.
what I'm saying is like this is the first night game, and this is probably the hardest. This is the hardest environment they've played. Illinois has played in thus far.
Yeah, I mean, the only real hostile crowd, they played in front of 15 Duke students
Yeah,
a couple of weeks ago.
yeah,
Yeah, I like Illinois in this game. I think they're the better team. Now, this is a Brett Bielema led squad, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Brett Bielema, as the Arkansas coach, also he was great at disappointing me. Um, Brett Bielema in the Big Ten is like a crazy good coach. I don't know why. I don't know where the disconnect is, but nevertheless, I'm going Illinois. Going with Big Bert.
yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. I think that's all the games that I mean, here the game that does come on at night that I would watch. I don't really want to get into it, Mason, because it's not. I feel like it's just going to be a high scoring game. The over under is 55.5, and that's Michigan State at USC. It's at 10 o'clock on Fox. What else are you going to be doing? Might as well turn it on and watch it.
Sleeping.
USC's quarterback actually does look really good, and I like Michigan State's quarterback Marcel Reed. So if you don't have anything else to do, I mean, turn it on. Isn't it Marcel Reed
No,
or
it's
what's
Texas
his
A&M's
name?
quarterback.
No, yeah, it's not Marcel Reed. Hang on, I'm pulling it up right now.
I was about to say, did he transfer? What the heck?
No, Aiden Childs. They're like
Oh.
the same. They're like the exact. They're like the exact same. Skinny, run around, but know how to throw the ball. They're like 6'3", 225. Like same exact build.
Mm-hmm. Another game that's going to be kind of interesting to watch that night is well, it's on at 6:30 on Fox. Arizona State goes to Baylor,
Yeah,
just to kind of see how Arizona State kind of recovers from the last time they went on the road. They lost. Baylor has looked good in a lot of moments this year, especially that SMU game. Kind of lean Baylor in that one.
yeah,
But yeah, that's all I got, man.
they're favored by 2.5. I would almost take them more than 2.5. Honestly, I like Baylor a lot this year. That was kind of my sleeper team at the beginning of the season. But yeah, that's all I got too, Mason. Everybody like and subscribe. Put us in a comment, something, anything about your favorite team, a favorite play, a favorite game from last week, something. The only reason we ask you to do that is because it boosts up us through the timelines and we get more views. So, like,
Well, we
subscribe, and
appreciate it,
tell
guys.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it. I'm gonna keep posting stuff on Facebook. So if you're not following us on Facebook, Three Deep South on Facebook, that's kind of where I've been the most interactive as far as like where I'm at the most. You can also comment to us on TikTok, the number three Deep South. But more than anything, guys, we're gonna be live again Sunday morning. We might start moving the time slot 9 o'clock because that 8:30 is killing me a little bit.
Come
Can't
on,
lie.
Mason. You just got to wake up
I'm
a
an
little
old
bit,
man.
bud.
I have a limited amount of waking hours that I can spend in a week, and I've been cutting myself a little short. But no, we'll see. 8:30, 9 o'clock, we'll be in that range. We'll shoot out a text before. But yeah, y'all have a good rest of y'all's day. Finish up the work week strong, and we will see you Sunday.